Hello, millionaires. Welcome to the Millionaire Money Podcast, episode 5. Today, we're going to talk about the biggest poverty magnet you have to avoid if you are serious about becoming a millionaire. Stay tuned. All right, family, let's get into it. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about the biggest poverty magnet, the biggest thing that keeps people in poverty, which you need to get rid of if you're actually serious about this journey of becoming a millionaire or multimillionaire. Now, here's the thing about what I'm about to share with you. If you don't understand this roadblock and you don't see how it could be impacting your life, what ends up happening is you do the work, you get right to the end of the journey, and for many people, they quit at the end. So they quit 3 feet from gold. And some of you guys may have heard about the 3 feet from gold analogy or story, where it's a real life story. There was this dude in California during the gold rush, where actually he wasn't from there. He moved over there for the gold rush. He had borrowed from like his friends, family to be able to get the equipment that he needed. He saw the land, found gold in it, bought the land, went, borrowed money from his friends and family. Also brought a bunch of them with him and told them, I found gold. If we dig, we're going to find more, and we're all going to be very wealthy out of this endeavor. And so he does this for God knows how long, and they're digging and they find a little bit more. And then all of a sudden the gold flow stopped, right? And for months and months, they continue digging and they don't see any more gold. And eventually he gets discouraged and he gets to a point where he actually approaches, everybody leaves, and he approaches a guy who buys junk. And he tells them, look, I'm willing to sell you the land, the equipment, everything. And it was for like peanuts. So let's say like $100 or something like that. So this dude said, okay, yep, great. Well, it's a deal. He purchases the land. And then he gets an expert, right? And he gets this engineer who actually tells him, the way that the land worked is when it shifts, sometimes it shifts. And what it means is that the fault lines for minerals will actually shift about 3 feet away from where it used to be. And so the engineer tells the new owner, this gold ore should continue about 3 feet from here. And so they go and look, and sure enough, there's the gold 3 feet away from where it was. That man obviously becomes a very, very, very wealthy man. The guy who had been digging in the first place heard about the fact that he was onto something, that there was gold on that land, and that somebody else had benefited after he had done all of that investment, purchased all the equipment, done all of that work. And now that story in particular actually ends well, because what ends up happening is he made this commitment to himself that he would never ever be in that position again. And what he did was he actually made a decision that he would win at whatever the next thing was that he was going to put his hand to. He was going to do it until he won, and he did. He became very, very successful in the insurance area. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because this dude was 3 feet away from striking gold, and he quit. And there are so many lessons that we are able to learn out of this story. And one of the things that I want to start with is so many people give up right before they get to the gold. Why? Because it's scary. Why? Because there are so many layers of fear inside that keep us from sticking it out until the end. And so what I want to talk to you guys about today is the ability that fear has to keep us from the very dream and goals that we say that we want. So this big thing, this poverty magnet, is making fear-based decisions. I'm going to say that again. The poverty magnet that you have to avoid in order to become a millionaire or a multi-millionaire is ending the place of making fear-based decisions. There's this verse in the Bible I think it's Proverbs 26:13 or something like that. Essentially says, the lazy man lies down on his bed, or I'm paraphrasing, you can Google it, right? But it says the lazy man claims there's a lion on the streets. Yes, I'm sure it is. There is a lion out there. What it's talking about is the fact that for many people, they create these hypothetical what ifs of failure in order to psych themselves out from the very things that they say that they want. And do you know what? It works. They actually give up, and then it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy where they're not hitting a level of success that they know that they can, but then they say, well, of course, I'm not hitting that level of success. It's because I wasn't ready. It's because I didn't know what to do. It's because So we give ourselves all these logical reasons for the reason that we are stuck, in quotation, when the truth is we're not really stuck. We're just giving in to fear-based decision making. So I'm going to say that again. Many of the areas where you may feel I am stuck is not because you actually have no way of changing your life or changing your financial situation, breaking through your revenue, or making your money work for you. It is because you have you have given yourself room to live in the realm of fear-based decision making. And what ends up happening, because here's the truth, guys, when you actually make a decision that you want to change your life, you want to step up, you want to step into like another layer of boldness in your business, in your career, you want to get paid what you're worth, you want to get paid your value. When you make those types of decisions, you are going to get tested. You are going to be faced with decisions that you need to make to back up what you're saying. And most people, that's exactly where they turn around. I see this, guys, day after day after day, where people know what's possible, know their potential, know what they're capable of. And because they never address this mindset of living out of fear-based decision making, they never actually get ahead. And the reason I want to speak to this, guys, is because if you don't come face to face with where in my life am I holding my own self back because of fear, you will waste years. There are so many people who are tormented with the thoughts of, what if I had just stepped out? What if I had just tried? What if I had just fought? What if I had just made that investment? I remember there's a client of ours who, and this is not investment advice in any way, shape, or form. I'm just telling you a story of his actual situation, okay? So he had studied a lot, and this has happened to quite a number of our clients. He'd studied a lot into investments. He'd been tracking certain stocks, and for so long, he knew what to do. He was watching the market, and he never invested. Why? Because it's scary to put your money in an investment. It's scary. So he never invested. He comes into Money Mindset Shift, and we just get to the root of the fear. We uproot the fear, throw it out the window. He shifts and he starts taking action in every area of his money. And one of those pieces of actions was investing. I'm not even going to say what he invested in so that people don't say that I told them to go and invest somewhere. But he ended up investing quite a bit in a specific stock that has blown up multiple times. I forget what percent his investment has turned into today. He is forever celebrating with us because now he runs with us. He's been running with us now for I think a year and a half. Forever celebrating about the first time a year and a half ago, he finally, after years and years of looking at the market, thinking about the market, wanting to participate in the stock market, I'm going to invest one day, finally putting his money where his mouth was, and now seeing the benefit multiple times over what he invested. And so why am I talking about this? I'm talking about this because the truth is, fear isn't all that bad. Right? Not all fear is horrible. Fear can actually be a very healthy thing, right? For example, I have the fear of God. It keeps me from doing foolishness, But not just that, fear is good because it stops you from stepping out into the middle of the street and stepping in front of a moving vehicle. Fear is great because it stops you from jumping off of a cliff. I mean, if there isn't like water underneath, because hey, some of us, we jump off of cliffs into the water and it's super fun. Okay, anyway, but fear can be healthy. It can be good. And at the same time, fear can keep you from living the life of your wildest dreams. Fear can keep you stuck more than you could ever think or imagine. And many people will tell you to live your life out of this fear-based perspective, this fear lens perspective, where they say you need to know absolutely every single step of the journey before you make a decision. You need to have all of the coordinates before you can decide. You need to think about every decision for at least a week before I take one step. Don't take risks, because if you take risks, you're going to lose. You hear these types of conversations, and here's the problem with it. The problem is, first of all, there is such a thing as a missed opportunity. I'm going to say that again because some of y'all, I know you've been messaging me already, by the way. Thank you all for sharing this podcast with your friends. Like, so many of you have been sharing just how much it is actually helping to open up people's eyes. And so thank you. Just want to say that. Now back to what I was saying. And the reason I'm saying this is because some of you guys have been telling me you've been taking notes. You're taking notes on this stuff. So if you're taking notes, I'm going to say that again. There is such a thing as a missed opportunity. There really is such a thing as not getting in at the right time. It's a thing, especially in building wealth. Like, there are business owners, guys, that you see an opportunity in your business, in your sphere, in your field, and you see other people are stepping into it, and you are so afraid of what will my clients think if I pivot? What will my friends think if I blank? Like, we are so bombarded with these thoughts, these fearful thoughts, that we don't even stop to think about where it is and what it is that I want. So the first thing I want to say is there is such a thing as a missed opportunity. The other thing that I want to say about this place of fear and why it doesn't work to make decisions out of a fear-based place is because fearful decisions don't build wealth. Period, point blank. Like, so many times I'll talk to people financially where they think that they're preserving what they have, but they're actually losing what they have. Like, I've seen some people who will have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands sometimes in a savings account. I mean, without going into a whole lesson, let me just let you know, money sitting in a savings account, it's already losing as it's sitting there because of inflation. And if any of you guys are aware right now, if you check your grocery prices, you check your gas prices, you check, all these things are escalating, and yet you still have people who are afraid to actually invest in themselves. And here's the other piece. So they're afraid to invest their money in any sort of an investment, but they're also afraid to invest in their own brain, in their own self. And what ends up happening is they are stuck. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to get unstuck. And they will sit there and they will have means to learn. And I don't care what that learning looks like, but they have the means to learn, and they sit on the means and just go, God, please break in. God, please help. God, please. God, please. And God's looking at you going, what do you want me to do? Like, seriously, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to come into your room with an angel that will now tell you exactly what you need to do? Like, do you not notice that there are people all over the planet that you are able to reach out to who have been where you are and have come out of there and know how to get where you're trying to go? And there's so many people that are so afraid to ask for help. It's so interesting. I remember speaking to another client where she had actually been in our Facebook group. We have a Facebook community, and she had been in our Facebook group for years and years. And one day she finally reaches out, and we've helped her to like totally radically transform her life. But I remember when she spoke to me first, she said, "Toyin, I've been in your group for years and years, and I never reached out because in her mind, she was afraid of failure. So her thought was, everybody else gets a breakthrough but me. I don't get breakthroughs. Everybody else will shift but me. So she was like, Toyin, I've watched all of the videos of all these clients that you have helped to radically transform. And every time I saw it, it was this encouragement. It was like, oh my gosh, this is great. This is what's possible. But at the very same exact time, she would tell herself, this is amazing for them. This is what's possible for them, but not for me. Why? Because she was afraid of actually trying. So we were offering like a free call, actually free. And I remember she was like, for years, I didn't even take the free call because I was already afraid of losing before I even started. I was afraid of failing before I even tried. The fear, guys, fear can steal your entire future. So many people are living life playing not to lose instead of playing to win. They're trying to like, how do I preserve? How do I stay? How do I just try to get through another month? How do I just make sure my business has enough revenue to cover our payroll this month? Like, seriously, you have business owners who are only thinking about how do I cover payroll? You're playing to lose instead of playing to win. How do I cover payroll? How do I do this? How do I do that? And you're thinking in this small-minded way because of all these limiting beliefs about if I set my goals for more, well, what would that mean? How would that challenge me? What if I fail? And guys, I want to say this because the reason I actually decided to do this episode for you guys this week was because on Sunday, myself and my husband were playing a game, and it was just one of those wonderful like couple games where you ask each other questions, and it was actually amazing. Like, it was super deep, and we were just like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. I feel like I've really gotten to know you so much better, blah, blah, blah. It was wonderful. In the middle of the game, there was one question where we were supposed to both answer, and I think the question was something like, is there anything that you've been wanting to put money towards or do with money that you haven't done? And so I mentioned to my hubby, there's this investment that I've been thinking about making and have been mulling on it. And we had actually talked about it in the past. And he said that was the same thing that came to my mind, was like this investment that we've talked about and da-da-da-da-da. And we're like, oh, isn't it so cool that we're both on the same page? Like, so many times we are both thinking the same thing. And we're like, oh, that's wonderful, blah, blah, blah. And then we're about to move on to the next question. And I was like, wait, hold up. I'm saying that we need to make this investment. You're saying that we need to make this investment. But we haven't made the investment. So how about we pause the game, get out my phone, and make the investment? And that's exactly what we did. It was the funniest thing. And it was funny because my hubby was just like, oh my gosh, this is like Toyin to the T. This is why I love you. I'm not even surprised that you did this. He was just like, of course. Like, he's like, you are my implementer. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, but for so many of you, you're thinking, one day I will do that. One day I will ask for help. One day I will take that step in my business. One day I will change my prices. One day I will ask for the raise. One day I will. And you never actually just bite the stinking bullet. I don't know why they have that phrase, and do the thing. And then for a lot of you, even when you do that, like many people, you run a business and you don't talk about it. If you're listening to this on audio, you need to like see my face, because my face is like full stank face right now. Okay? You run a business, and the fear and these fearful decisions, this fear-based decision making will have you playing small with your business. So you don't talk about it. You hide behind, like maybe you have ads and you're like, oh, that's wonderful. I have advertisements, so I don't need to say anything. I don't need to be seen. I don't want to be labeled. I don't want my friends to think that all I care about is the work that I do. And you literally hide. And at the same time, you pray and you're like, God, break in my business. God, help me with my business. God, these are the goals that I'm looking for. And he's looking at you like you're like playing two different games. Because you're playing not to lose, but you're asking to win the game. And it doesn't work that way. Not only that, some of you guys are in careers. And I remember there was a client who came to us. Her name was Lisa. And she came to us just around the pandemic when she had just lost her job. And I remember her when she came to us and she said, Toyin, I'm asking for help, but I just lost my job. And the scariest thing to do is to get help right when you just lost your job, because I don't have a job. But this is what you help people with. So, okay, I'll get in the room so I can get not just any job. I want my dream job this time. And that's what we did. So within I think it was 4 weeks or so, she gets her dream job. And she's just like, I remember her celebrating and she said, this is a job where I'm not stressed. Like I can rest. She's like, it feels so foreign to my physical body to do a job where I am getting paid my value and I am not overworking. She's like, there's times where I'm like, is this real? Like, am I really getting paid to do this? I'm there and I'm like, I am available. I've done all the work and I'm waiting. And I'm like, hey, is there anything else? And I was like, girl, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. For the first time in decades of your life, you get to work with balance, with rest, and enjoy it. And it's not just that, but my point about this, because you need to understand why I'm sharing this, is because she was scared to bits in the beginning of the journey because she needed to invest in herself in the very moment that she lost her job. Same thing happened with Bami. You know, I've done a couple of videos with Bami in the groups where Bami came to us when she knew her contract was ending 30 days later. And instead of making the fear-based decision of, well, my contract's ending in 30 days, let me just go and sit campaign and figure out what I can do by myself and blah, blah, blah. She was like, let me get an expert who's going to help me make this my career jump, my career leap. And what does she do? She actually ends up landing a job that paid her more. And it was just so funny because she got a job, paid her more already. A month later in the new position, she ends up getting another raise. After a month, go figure. But not just that, because she learned how to own her value, how to present herself in the interview process, in the contract negotiation process. I think it was like a year later, she gets another job that was an even higher raise. And this time it was a lifestyle change for her because it was 5 minutes away from where she lived as opposed to an hour. I think it was she used to travel an hour and a half one way to go to work. So 3 hours of her life every single day turned into 10 minutes of her life every single day with higher pay 3 times with this second job. 3 times more than where she had started. And why am I saying this? I'm saying this because change is always scary. Whether you're in business or you're in a career, change equals scary. And if you don't come to terms with that, you will pray for change, feel fear, and then run away from the very change that you are looking for. Your dream, and now I'm going to talk from a science perspective, from that subconscious perspective. When your brain is comfortable in whatever your life looks like right now, and that's where it is comfortable because that's what it's seen for however long you've been in this place. So your brain is now comfortable in this place where your business is doing $50,000 a month. Or your brain is comfortable in a place where your business is doing $15,000 a month, or your career where you are barely making ends meet and you're earning $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, and every single month it's like pinching, or your brain is plateaued and is super comfortable where your business is doing $200,000 a month, but you know that you are actually capable of a lot more. So what ends up happening? Because your brain is comfortable in this place, if you actually make the decision of I am going to go from $200,000 every month to $500,000 every month, your brain is going to freak out. If you decide I'm going to go from 2,000 to 20,000, like one of our clients, Stacy, did every month, it's like your brain's going to go, oh my gosh, is this even possible? Like, it is going to freak out. Let's just say it. It's there. Put it on the table. Yes, I will feel fear in the middle of my transformation. If you didn't feel fear, I would be concerned for you. Seriously, if someone doesn't feel fear around radically transforming the way that they have been doing money and the way that they've been doing life, it usually, for me, it's usually a sign that they're not actually serious. Does that make sense, guys? I want you to hear that. If your heart isn't like, oh my gosh, I'm actually doing it. If your heart doesn't feel that, oh my goodness, I'm changing my life. I'm making a different type of decision. I'm stepping out there. That feeling, then you're not doing it. Because that means your brain is already saying, we're not doing it. And yes, you're still going to feel the excitement. And I don't want to say like it's always just fear. It's not always just fear. You feel excited. I get super duper excited about growth, about scaling, about the challenges, because I know that yes, it's scary, but this is the path to where I'm trying to go. And now I want to share with you guys the truth. Here's the truth. Multi-millionaires feel fear too. Billionaires feel fear too. Everyone on the planet feels fear. The difference, there's two differences. One, they have worked the muscle of creating what they want despite the fear for so long that the things that scare someone who has built wealth to a certain level is different from the things that will cause fear for someone who hasn't made that journey, who hasn't started that journey. That's one. The second thing is that the difference between people who build into multi-millions of dollars in their business, through their career, whatever it is, and the people who do not, is that they have learned how to make the decision, how to take the step they need to take despite the fear that they feel. They have learned how to say and approach it from a logical perspective of, yes, I am triggered. Yes, I want to run away. Yes, everything I want to do right now is hide. However, this is a wall I have to walk through to be able to get to my breakthrough. And what is super interesting, because this is a journey that I have been on. When I first started my business, I was super hesitant, super scared, super just about everything. But I knew I had to do it. Like, there was no other option for me but success in this thing. There was no other option for me but taking care of my family. And so what I did was I just started taking the step. And that's the biggest thing here, is I've noticed that over the years, things have become less and less and less scary. We still make these big decisions. I still feel fear certain days, but it's like, I know what to do. I know that I know how to fix whatever happens. And the only way that you can get to that place is when you start learning how to actually take decisions despite your fear. To trust that one of the things that I believe for myself is when I invest into myself, when I invest into Toyin Crandell, I make more than 10 times my investment every single time. And you need to adopt that belief. When I invest into, but then you have to actually back that up with reality. Like, you have to show up at the game ready to create that thing that you're looking for. So yes, one, you need to, so that's the first piece. Let's start with the first piece. The first piece, for you to be able to ditch the fear-based decision-making that keeps people in poverty, and I woulda, I shoulda, I coulda done those things, and looking back with regret over their lives, the first thing is learning how to take the step despite the fear. The second thing is millionaires make wealthy decisions. And what does that mean? That means they make calculated decisions based on where they are trying to go. They make decisions based on the dream that they are committed to creating. The difference is they have decided internally that they are going to do what it takes to create the vision that they are telling people that they want. And the biggest question that you want to ask yourself is, do I back up my words, my desires, my dreams, my affirmations, my vision board? Do you actually back up your vision boards with action, with wealthy decision making? The third thing is this. I have yet to meet, and y'all can tell me in the comments, wherever you're listening, you can tell me, have you ever met a millionaire or a billionaire or any sort of successful person who has not ever taken risks? Tell me. Tell me one successful person, really successful person, who didn't take a risk to get there. One. Guys, they don't exist. Why? Because millions of dollars, success, wealth does not happen in the land of comfort. It does. Hear this. It doesn't happen in the place of, I just need to be comfortable. It doesn't happen there at all. So guess what you end up realizing when you really understand this? This is something I had to learn. Is if I embrace comfort and I run away from risk, I actually am in the middle of the worst risk of my life, which is a guarantee of failure. So do you guys get that? I'm going to say that again. If you are afraid of taking a risk on yourself to change your life, you actually end up in the one place where zero success happens, which is in the land of your comfort zone. And so in this place of your comfort zone, you are now in the middle of the greatest area of risk, which is not changing. So change is scary, but not changing is the scariest place of all. Because if you really have an honest conversation with yourself about where you've been financially, what's been keeping you there, what's been keeping you stuck, the pattern you've been seeing, whether it's a pattern of feast and famine, I have money, then I don't have money, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up and down, or it's a pattern of I always get to this plateau, I get to a certain income level and then it just plateaus and we don't do anything, or it's a pattern of I save a lot of money and then all of a sudden the money is gone. There's always random emergencies that happen that take away our savings, or it's I could keep going, y'all. I pay off all of my debt and then I'm all the way back in debt. Then I pay off all of my debt, I'm all the way back in debt. There are these patterns that you are seeing in your own life. And if you think that just sitting there singing Kumbaya, trying to say affirmations, doing all these things, have a vision board, and you don't actually address the stuff that's been keeping you in that pattern, you don't actually invest into yourself to say, what is causing this to happen? If you don't do that, this stuff doesn't just change. This stuff doesn't just fix itself. You know, sometimes people will say those things like time heals all wounds. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. Time doesn't fix a bad strategy. Time doesn't fix a bad money mindset. Time doesn't remove fear. Time doesn't, I could keep going. Time doesn't fix it. In fact, you lose time if you don't take time to fix it yourself first. You waste years if you don't invest the time to fix the root problem first and quickly. And so what is my point here? My point, guys, is that it is honestly scarier. It is scarier to allow fear to run your decision making. I want to, but I can't. I need to, but I won't. It is scarier to do that because those are the people who wake up years down the road decades down the road, and nothing ever changed. And you see these people, some of you guys, you know that this looks like you, and some of you know people like this, where they've been alive for whatever number of years, but for the last 10 years, they've been living the same year 10 times. And you guys have heard this. You see people that are 20 years older from the last time you saw them, and you have a conversation with them, and you realize 20 years have gone by, but in their brain and in their way of life, it's the same as 20 years ago. Those are the people who avoid change. Those are the people who embrace the fear-based decision making. I'm just going to hide in my rock and maybe the world is going to stay with me right here, where it never does. It is moving forward. The financial market is changing. Everything in our world has dramatically shifted, and you still have people that are trying to use old school budgeting tactics in a technology age. You have people that are trying to do the same things they've done year after year because they don't want to make that change decision to create the next level that they keep saying that they want. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this for each one of you that are listening to this podcast. If you are finished, if you are done, there's that song that's like, fear you don't. Okay, I'm not going to sing it so that they don't take my stuff off for copyright, whatever. But if you are done with allowing fear to run your future, if you are finished with giving your power over to the mind of fear, to fear-based decision making, if you are done with allowing your business to be run by fear, your career, your income, your freedom, your family, to be run through fear-based decision making that only leads to poverty. There was one last thing I'm going to say. One of my mentors said this to me once, because I was in a moment, and this was actually earlier this year. It was a big decision that I was making, and I felt fear around it. And I called one of my mentors, and I said to him, this is how I feel. I feel this fear because here's the what if. Like, what if this happened? And he just responds to me, and he said, Toyin, I totally hear you, but guess what? What did he say? Hypotheticals lead to... So he's like, you can either do the thing, or you can stick to your hypotheticals about all the reasons you could fail in that thing, and that'd be fine, but just know hypotheticals lead to poverty. And I was just like, ain't that right? Okay. Right? Like, you can embrace your like, oh, I will never change. It doesn't work for me. I just can't try, and da-da-da. And those hypotheticals end up leading to poverty. Or you can just get over yourself. And I'm being serious. We live in this age that people are afraid to tell you the truth. They want to cuddle you. They want to say, oh my gosh, it's going to be okay. Da-da-da. I'm like, get over yourself. Make a decision despite the fear that you feel. Get the help that you need. I get help because I feel fear sometimes. And it's like, okay, who do I have? Who are my coaches? Let me check in. Can you help me? Can you coach me? I literally do that so that I can remove the layers as quickly as possible, get to the next level, get to the next level, get to the next level. And people look at our business, they look at our lifestyle, and they go, Toyin, how do you multiply so quickly? Why? Because even though I am a human who feels the same fears that you feel, I have surrounded myself with coaches and communities and masterminds and people that are able to call me out and say, girl, that's not you. That is not Toyin Crandell. That is not you. And so I'm here to tell you guys, each one of you that are listening right now, living in this fear-based decision-making cycle, that's not you. That's not who you were created to be. That's not where you were created to stay. And you don't have to remain in this place. You have the choice. You have the power. You are able to make a different type of decision, get the help that you need so you can have a look at your finances for real and actually create the financial destiny, that dream. You can make that into a current reality. But it's going to be on the other side of taking a step over that fear that you feel. And so if you're listening to this and you say, Toyin, this is me. This is Me 1,000%. I have been holding myself back out of fear. I see it, I know it, I start, I stop, I don't do the thing I say I'm gonna do. My vision board is packed, but it ain't happening. And I've been looking at the same vision board for the last 3 years and telling myself it's okay, one day it's coming. Like, if you are listening to this and you know fear has held me back way too long, I'm inviting you to book a call with our team. Let's have a conversation. Let's really begin to talk about what is triggering this fear for you. Where is the root? What is the source? And once we figure out the source, what are the subconscious beliefs that are tied to that fear? And how do we get those out of the way? Let's shift those things out so that you can finally think clearly for once and begin to make these decisions that actually create the dream that you've been praying for. So we're going to talk about how to shift those limiting beliefs on that call. And then once we've done that, we're going to discuss the exact plan that you need to implement with your business, with your career, with your money in order to master that money, make it begin to work for you, and have breakthrough revenue so you can build wealth. Guys, we are ready for you if you are ready for your change. And so if you know that's you, then go to moneymindsetShift.ca/call. That's moneymindsetShift.ca/CALL. Let's have a conversation. Let's figure out what is the root of this fear. Let's shift it, and let's do this thing now, not 10 years from now after you've wasted, or even 1 year from now after time has gone and gone and gone. It is time for your shift, and we are here to hold you up and to walk you over that fear and into your dream. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see you this time next week. Bye.
Hey millionaires, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me right here. Click on that. And if you want to have a free financial breakthrough session with my team, then you can go on ahead and click on the button right here, or visit moneymindsetShift.ca/call. I'll see you guys on the next show. Bye-bye.